Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Vic Slant Hope, and I got another video for y'all. Today, we're going to be doing another video from the 48 Laws of Power, and this one is law number 32, play to people's fantasies. And before I read the judgment, like I always tell you, if you like my content, make sure you give it a thumbs up, you share it, and you subscribe to the channel, you know what I'm saying? If you fucking with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. I ain't asking for much. But let's get into the judgment. It says, the truth is often avoided because it is ugly and unpleasant. Never appeal to the truth and reality unless you are prepared for the anger that comes from disenchantment. Life is so harsh and distressing that people who can manufacture romance or conjure up fantasy are like oases in the desert. Everyone flocks to them. There is great power in tapping into the fantasies of the masses. This is a great law. So let me just give y'all a few examples. I'm gonna give you a book example, and I'm gonna give y'all, some real life time to time example. Now in the book, one of the fantasies, well, in the book, what they was talking about is the city of Venice in Italy. At one point in history, Venice was one of like the richest, wealthiest cities in Europe. But when the New World got discovered, it started to become on a decline because a lot of trade started to change, right, from like just amongst Europe to like the New World. So anyway, as the trade in the New World, started to happen in the Caribbeans and all of those things, the decline of Venice led to its ruin, and then they became they fell to a lot of debt. So they owed a lot of money and a lot of stuff, and then along came a man that said that he could create gold, that he could make gold out of alchemy, right? He was an alchemist, and he said that he can make gold. So when the people of Venice heard this, mind you, before this there was a tale of a man who was gonna come and make Venice prosperous again, and that he would do it through alchemy. So when they heard of this man just basically played into the fantasy and the tales that the people of Venice kind of like believed in. So that's basically how he swindled them, and he lived in riches, and a lot of people was giving him gifts and money and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's just the story in the book. But let's get to the real life examples, right? For example, fantasies. People love the idea of fantasies, right? It says in the book, it says, people rarely believe that their problems arise from their own misdeeds and stupidity. Someone or something out there is to blame. The other, the world, the gods, and so salvation comes from the outside. So a lot of times, people are always blaming. So let me give you an example. For example, why do you think people play lotto? People play lotto because there's this fantasy that they have about winning money fast, right? So they have this mindset that they start to fantasize about what they're going to do when they get the money. So they be like, oh my God, if I won the mega millions, like, yo, I would do this. So it becomes like a fantasy. Not saying that you can't win, right? But the chances of you winning are kind of like very slim. So people develop this fantasy, if I only had the money, I would do this. And this is how they get into that cycle of continuing to play lotto, right? It's rolling the dice, trying to, kind of like live out this fantasy. It's not quite like the book, but it's kind of similar. The same thing happens with the casinos, right? For example, if you lose your money in a casino fast, let's say you lose $50,000, do you know how hard it would be for you to get that back? Like just through working and hard work and dedication. So people don't want to fathom that, yo, I really gotta work hard to make this money back. So what do? They keep going back to the casino because they're hoping and they're fantasizing about getting that money back. Another example about this, because they mentioned romance, right? They mentioned life is harsh and distressing, that people who can manufacture romance or conjecture up fantasy are like oases in the desert. For example, women love to be romanced. Women love to be, that's why I say women love to be lied to. Because a lot of times women live in this world of imagination. They live in the world of how they view the world and how, so they don't really even live in a reality, right? Because the reality is that a lot of women are going to be married, right? But a lot of women believe in marriage. They believe in walking down the aisle. They have like this fantasy of one day walking down the aisle with the Prince Charming, some guy that's gonna come swoop them up their feet. But they don't realize that in order to kind of like get to this, you have to put in work. You actually, but nobody wants to think about, I have to put in work. Nobody really wants to think about, damn, I really gotta change my attitude. I really gotta submit, or I really gotta be nice, or I really gotta change because somebody's telling me to change, or else. Like, they don't want to put in the work, right? But they still believe in the fantasy. So sometimes a lot of men do, even when it comes to just getting the girl, right? They like to be romanced. They like, they want you to buy them flowers. They want you to tell them sweet nothings. So it's almost like they like the fantasy. That's why I say they like the lies, man. Because a lot of dudes, what they do is they create this illusion in order to get the girl. Women do the same thing to men. A lot of times, women will ask you, what are you looking for in a girl? And the moment you tell her certain things, she tries to act out in those ways. Like she puts on this mask. Everybody puts on the mask. Women just try to make us believe that they don't do that, but they do that too. Some women will even act like they like sports, just for the sake of creating this fantasy, of the type of woman that you might like. Because some guys might be like, damn, I wish there was a girl out there that, like sports, but girls don't really be into sports. You get what I'm saying? They play into the fantasy. So most people are doing that. A lot of people hate the truth. Y'all see it all the time. Y'all see it on the internet. Y'all see it on Instagram. Y'all see it everywhere. People, when you talk about the truth, a lot of people would tear you down, will talk shit, will call you a pick-me, will call you a simp, will call you all type of stuff just for telling the truth. But it's almost like the people that lie, they get all the praise, they get all the likes, they get all the y'all know what I'm talking about. So that's just the reality of the situation. A lot of people don't like to be told the lie because the lie makes you face reality. People like to live in a fantasy. Like the book said, life is already distressful. And people do not like to be reminded of the work they got to put in and how distressful it is. Another example I'm going to give you is reparations. See, black people are holding on to this fantasy. And again, these are a little different. Not saying that they can't happen, but they are holding on to this fantasy that hopefully one day, because again, people like putting the blame outward. Not saying that the country doesn't have anything to do, but a lot of people don't want to work, right? A lot of people are engaging in self-destructive behaviors, and they continue to blame something outside of themselves, even though they're doing self-destructive shit. So a lot of people say they sit here with the fantasy, hoping that one day the country might give black folks reparations, and that's gonna solve every single thing, right? The fantasy. Even though they got PPP loans, even though they got unemployment, and even though some people didn't have no bills, we see how people waste their money. They was flying in and out all over the country, going to Miami, going to Mexico, going this. People started going everywhere because they don't have no money management. So the same thing is going to happen if reparations happen, for the most part, not with everybody. But the whole point of this is about the fantasy that if the country give us the money, we're going to be straight. We're going to be all right. So anyway, so that's just the point about how fantasy works. And I'm going to read this real quick, and then I'm going to be out of here. A lie is an allurement, a fabrication that can be embellished into a fantasy. It says, it can be clothed in the raiments of a mystic conception. The truth is cold, sober fact, not so comfortable to absorb. A lie is more palatable. The most detested person in the world is the one who always tells the truth, who never romances. I found it far more interesting and profitable to romance than to tell the truth. So that's the gist, man. I see why a lot of people lie. You know what I'm saying? It's profitable, it's beneficial, and people love you when you lie. And that's just the reality of the situation. The reversal of this law is that when you're lying to the masses, especially to a lot of people, when you're selling them a dream, it can become crucial if they catch you. If they realize you're lying to them, and if the way that you're telling them your story, like for the guy that said he could make gold, he didn't do it to the sense where he got caught, or the people they started to demand that he show them, but he still did it in a way where he was able to be mysterious about it, right? But if the people catch you, and the people already paid you and gave you money and invested in you, and they realize you play them, again, it can end deadly. A lot of these laws, if they don't go right, like, they could lead to your demise. So let me know what your thoughts are. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, peace.